Good afternoon. We are here at 5 o'clock to have a meeting of the budget committee. As you may recall, the city council functions as the budget committee as we are approving budgets each year. And the reason that we're here this time, this is not something that we have done a lot. However, you will recall that when we adopted the fiscal year 21 budget was in May and June of last year. We were a month and a half into the COVID pandemic and not real sure what was going to happen. So we tried to be cognizant of that and to keep our business so that we wouldn't fall off the side of the cliff, I guess. And what we did at that meeting, well, let me back up. The typical process for adopting a budget is that the charter requires that the city manager put together a budget and present it to the mayor. Then he and the mayor refine it, if you will, and the mayor then recommends to the city council. The council has hearings from the department heads, those that may want additional items added to their budget, or those that things that the councilors, as the budget committee recommends, be deleted from their budget. And then the council will look at that entire list, and we call it the add delete list. Isn't that sort of at any rate, when we got to the point last year, in May of last year, we were a little over 2 months into the pandemic, not sure exactly what was going to happen or how we were going to proceed or how we were going to get finances taken care of. And so the council went through the add delete list for the delete items from the budget. There were a number of items on that list that various councilors had requested that we consider adding to the budget. We did not do that. We did not add things to the budget, but we said that because of all of the uncertainty, we would come back together in mid-year in January and take a look at where we were and to see if we wanted to add or delete anything from the FY21 budget. And so that is why we are here this afternoon, is to make the decision of whether or not we want to add or delete anything from the FY21 budget. Now, a couple of other things that I want to bring to remind you of, bring to your attention. The first one is that beginning on Thursday of this week, 2 days from now, the finance department and the city manager's office will begin the budget kickoff meetings for the FY22 budget. And that will be done as they have typically done that in order to have a budget to present to the mayor, and for the mayor then to present to council by the end of April. I don't know, and perhaps at some point tonight, if the city manager wishes to speak to this, if there's any change in the direction to the department heads. Last year they were told, we don't know what's going to happen. Don't be too ambitious with your requests for budget, but that will happen in beginning Thursday. The other piece of this is that as the budget chair, I have had several conversations with Councilor House, who is the vice chair of the budget committee, and we have talked about what we need to do in order to make get what we need in the budget arena for our department heads. And what Councilor House and I have been talking about is that we are not convinced at this point that we need to add anything to the budget, to the FY21 budget at this time. We have under the charter, and the city manager and the mayor have the authority under the charter to bring to us items that need to be approved for departments and so forth outside of the regular budget. They have the authority to do that. And so what Councilor House and I have talked about is making the recommendation to council as the budget committee that we not add any items to the FY21 budget at this time, and that we encourage those department heads who have budgetary needs that need to be met prior to the FY22 budget, that they discuss that with the city manager, and if the city manager and the mayor want to bring those items to us, we have the authority, we believe, to take action on those and implement those prior to July 1, when the new fiscal year begins. And so, so you may be asking, well, why are we here then if you're not going to recommend that we take any action on any of those items? We took official legislative action as a council to come back at mid-year to take a look at the budget. And it was our determination that we need to say, okay, this is what we think we need to do for the FY21 budget, take official action, and move from there. I'm going to ask the Councilor House as the vice chair if he would like to say anything. I hope you do. And then we will move from there. Councilor House?
Thank you, Madam Budget Chair. I concur with what you said. We have had several discussions, and the uncertainty that we're still faced with, we feel that we should not make any changes to the budget at this time, and that if, as Chairman Thomas said, if a department head feels that they have a purchase that's needed, absolutely to to continue operations, they should discuss that with the city manager, and then move forward from there. So, thank you.
Manager or Mr. Mayor, do either one of you wish to speak to this at this time?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm struggling with technology. Just very briefly, just say that I appreciate the work that the budget chair and vice chair have put into reviewing where we are, and everybody's crystal ball is a little bit foggy these days. So I concur. I agree with what they have elected to recommend to council, and I just want to thank them for, because this has been an awkward. These budget chairs and vice chairs have done more than most budget chairs, because this has been a year in review, day by day, and so I appreciate all that they have done. I know our finance director has some comments when y'all are done. I think the city manager had something he wanted to add.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Madam Budget Chair and Vice Chair. I concur with what you, Madam Budget Chair, laid out, and I will say that the Mayor and Council, just in recent months, there were some urgent needs that you addressed on December 15th at the City Council meeting, and then some other items on January 5th. We knew that there were some needs with fire EMS and for capital equipment and needs for public works. And the mayor spoke with each of you and asked that we bring forward on the December 15th agenda to address those needs. And you may recall that you approved fire trucks to include a ladder truck, an E1 fire truck with related equipment. You may recall that you approved ambulance units with related equipment. You approved grab-all trucks at the December 15th meeting, and then a final one at the January 5th meeting. And you approved on December 15th garbage trucks for recycling, side loader trucks, 8 of them. And so you have addressed those urgent capital needs from fire EMS and public works. And the Clerk of Superior Court had what she presented as an urgent need, and we spoke to you about that need that she brought forward that you had on the add-delete list, and that was for one position. And what we have done is extended to her a full-time temporary position for 6 months. And that full-time temporary position will get the Clerk of Superior Court through the budget process that we are about to embark upon. We will kick off, as the budget chair said, on Thursday this week. That allows the Clerk of Superior Court time to put that in the FY22 budget as a request. It has time to come before the Budget Review Committee, and ultimately, if you so choose, it would be in the budget that would be approved prior to June 30th. And so, because that would be a temporary full-time position for 6 months, it will be the bridge that will get through that budget process. And with that being the case, she sent an email, the Clerk of Superior Court, on Friday, respectfully requesting to be removed from the budget review session agenda today, because that takes care of her immediate need to get her through that process. So, Madam Budget Chair, as you said, if there are other urgent needs that are critical to the operations of this government, we do have processes in place that we would be able to get those things done that would not interfere with the operations of this government. And therefore, with all of that being so, I do concur with what you've laid out, and I think that we have a way forward that will not hinder the operations of this government. Thank you, Madam Budget Chair.
And I want to be sure that everybody understands that none of us, the Budget Committee, nor the administration, wants to do anything that will jeopardize the health and welfare of our citizens or our employees. So if there are things that we need to be looking at, please don't hesitate to call. Madam Finance Director, do you have a couple of words for us? Let me tell you what my goal is. My new watch that my nieces and nephews gave me for Christmas says that it's 5:15, And we're trying to handle this in order to adjourn this session for the council to start at 5:30, if that works out. If not, we can do something else. Madam Finance Chair.
Well, good evening. I won't be a dead horse here. I just really would like to concur with the comments made by you, Madam Budget Chair, as well as the Mayor and the City Manager, as well as the Vice Chair. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being committed to the budget review process. As it has been mentioned already, the budget kickoff meeting for FY22 will be this Thursday at 2 p.m. And just thank you for allowing us to work through the process, the budget process in its entirety. Some of the things that we can anticipate for next year possibly are, increases in some of our fringe benefits. We don't know exactly what that might be at this particular point. But as you mentioned before, there are a lot of unknowns, at this time. And so I just want to say thanks again for your commitment to the process.
Thank you, Madam Finance Director. For the rest of the Budget Committee, is there anyone that would like to be heard at this time? The mayor is working the microphone business. So, Mr. Mayor, did you have somebody? Councilor Davis?
Thank you, Mayor. Madam Budget Chair, thank you so much for those comments. And just listening, I walked in and listening to your presentation, the mayor's comments, city manager's comments. I'm spot on. I think it's very prudent and words well projected as far as how we need to proceed forward. And I'm in full agreement. I think there's three things that come to my mind in this that, we've talked about doing an equitable pay plan that can be sustained. I think that's one of the items on our list. We talked about capital replacement. We've talked about emergency needs and requests. Those three things are big as I look at this budget coming up, and I think that we all should stay focused on that. We've talked about a pay plan. We've talked about looking at ways to how we can address those concerns. We all have those concerns. We don't know what the mandates are going to be coming out of the federal government. Those may be new expenditures that we're going to have to deal with as well. But I do know, along with the words that have been spoken here, the big thing is, as a council as a whole, as a city as a whole, as a government as a whole, if we're going to meet these goals, then we're going to have to set priorities, and we're going to stick to our priorities. And I think that's in line with what exactly you're saying. So I appreciate those comments and perspective.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? Pops, I can't see you, so if you want to speak, you need to wave at me. Okay, I just didn't want to overlook you. Anyone else? Seeing no one.
Has anyone seen the movie Catch Me If You Can?
Yes.
I concur.
Anything else? Hearing nothing, then do I hear a motion that this meeting of the Budget Committee be adjourned? Motion by Councilor House, second by everybody else, I guess. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Meeting is adjourned. We will come back then to the council meeting at 5:30. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.